Okay, next one's from Cheers and Beers for Tears Smith. No, Cheers and Beers for Tears for Fears Smith.
Tremendous.
The subject is Jim Ross is just being silly now. A great interview with Chris Jericho, guys. I'm sitting on my deck having a nice Saturday early morning hot dog. Don't know it till you try it. Early morning hot dog?
That sounds like
I will
a
not do an
terrible
early morning
idea.
hot dog. Question for Disco. I get it that guys have to praise people they work for. No one should be shocked by it, but do you think in wrestling it can be overly done to the point that it causes damage? Check out what Jim Ross said about Jon Moxley. What does he say here? I'll read it, I guess, because it doesn't look too long. Jon Moxley's no nonsense. Jon Moxley made his debut. Well, speaking on this podcast, Grilling JR, WWE Hall of Famer Jim Ross talked about Jon Moxley's match against Carl Anderson on AEW Fighter Fest Night 1. Ross said that Jon Moxley is the closest thing he's witnessed to the level of Stone Cold Steve Austin since Steve Austin himself. I thought Carl Anderson had the best match I've ever seen him have on television against Jon Moxley. He had a great match. Moxley's the closest thing I've seen in pro wrestling like Stone Cold since Stone Cold. Attitudinal, body English, facial expression, and legitimate intensity. Absolutely phenomenal. That's his opinion. I would disagree with it, but I'll say this. I don't see that in Moxley, but I will say this. I used to shill. Remember when I was doing the WrestleZone columns, Konnan? I was working for Impact for TNA.
Right. You and me had classic battles.
Yeah, right. And so I had to show. Of course, I'm going to show for my company. I can't. I'm not going to go in there and bury them.
Right.
You know, it's just like, bro. This is when you work for a company, and we learned this lesson because, bro, we would go on WCW Lives and we would bury the company, and we got to realize that in retrospect that's not the best thing to do. Thank God nobody heard this, because if they would have heard this,
we would have been fired.
We may not have been hireable later on, but by people, right? So basically, what was I saying here? So with Moxley's, bro, don't. I don't know why JR is doing this. I know he's trying to show, but don't compare people to Stone Cold Steve Austin, right? It's just you're not. Come on, it's like the guy was. When you start when arenas have 12,000 people in them every single night again, then start comparing people to Stone Cold Steve Austin. But I don't know. Let me finish the email. Stone Cold Steve Austin would never do a job to a legitimate goof like Kenny Omega. I'm not saying that Moxley sucks, but he's not Stone Cold. Stone Cold was so real that people actually thought he could have held his own with Mike Tyson back in '98. Plus, Pritchard has said in his show that JR would cheerlead for certain guys so much that they would accidentally bury the guy. Disco, what do you think about this? And Joe, keep. What does that mean? And Joe, keep.
There's a saying on the Raven show, keep up the work. But since the story is Raven and us are so lazy on the show, we've shorted to just keep.
My God, wait 1 second.
You got any comments on this? Is Ross correct? Well, he can do what he wants, but do you agree with his assessment that Jon Moxley is the closest thing to Stone Cold Steve Austin?
I like Moxley even when they were doing stupid with him in WWE, but to compare with Stone Cold, I would disagree also.